Hello. So I committed to doing daily content. I am unbelievably sick. I have used, so many tissue-related products in the past 24 hours. It's, ridiculous. So I do sound congested. I'm gonna apologize for that. I had to choose between making videos and going out of town. Or making videos while sick or not making videos. You guys are important to me, and I made a promise to you that I'd be doing daily content, so here I am. But I do know that I sound super stuffy, and I want to apologize for that. I went to the doctor. The doctor said, Wolf, this is really bad. It's getting worse every day. And I said, Doc, what do I do? And he said, if you don't get 2,000 likes on this video, it's not looking good for you. So this is probably the last time I'll be recording. I'm going to bulk record a couple videos. But yeah. It's been fun, guys. I appreciate it. But yeah, it looks like this is the end. You can actually see on my bed right there. That's 3 tissue boxes that I just went out and bought. So it's been fun. I appreciate y'all, but this is probably gonna be one of my last videos. I'm gonna record a couple more today because I'm going out of town this weekend. But yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about the topic of today's video, which is I just wanted to do a summary of all of the changes that they've made, and I'm not even gonna say changes. I'm gonna say features. All of the features in Pokemon Sword and Shield that make playing competitively easier. Oh, I hear myself. I'm really sorry. I apologize. I know it's not. I know it sounds annoying to listen to, but I'm doing my best. So, breather. All right. So, let's talk about it. So, basically, competitive Pokemon. So, let's just do a recap. Quick recap. Most of you guys are already going to know this stuff, but I'm out of water. But we're going to talk about it anyway. So, Pokemon is one of the most recognizable brand names in the world. Most people have heard of Pokemon, whether it's the Pokemon cards or Pokemon Go or the Pokemon video game. Most people are at least aware of Pokemon as a franchise. However, despite this, Pokemon, its competitive scene, both in singles and in doubles, both officially and unofficially, isn't really well known at all. Most people, if they're going to know about competitive Pokemon, know about competitive single battling, and the official format, VGC, of tournaments run by the Pokemon Company has almost no knowledge. It's very, very not well known at all. And so, one of the reasons for that is that even if people discover the game, right? There are a lot of the competitive game, right? Everyone can play through the story mode if they've played, but even people who know about, who have heard of VGC, there are some, which is the official competitive format, there are some barriers that need to be overcome in order to play. For example, Pokemon is split into 2 main parts, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. There's the preparation phase, where you decide, you get your Pokemon, you train them up, give them the moves and items and everything, and time out. Sorry. Oh, this is good content, right? And there's the breeding phase, or the catching phase for legendaries, or however you want to do it. There's the getting the Pokemon phase. Get your Pokemon, get the items you need, get the TMs you need, get the egg moves, etc., all this stuff, blah, 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 right? Use tutor moves, etc. Then there's the actual gameplay. So the interesting thing about Pokemon tournaments is, unlike Smash Brothers, right? The Smash Brothers franchise, which is a franchise I follow competitively. I don't play myself, but I do follow. Melee especially. Fox McCloud is always Fox McCloud, right? Peach is always Peach. You can change the color for aesthetic, but for the most part, for the entire part, those players, all their preparation is done on their physical abilities at the game. Whereas in Pokemon, a lot of the time in preparation has to be spent actually getting your team, because it doesn't matter if you have the perfect team in theory and if you can beat everybody with it. If you don't have it in the game, then, then you can't use it. So you have to get it in the game, and that can be really... And so I started playing in Gen 5, which is going to be 3 generations ago, about 9 years ago. And in Gen 5, it was very, very, very hard to get Pokemon that were good. So when you're talking about getting or breeding a Pokemon, there's a couple factors that you need to consider. There is the nature, and then there's the IVs. IVs are a hidden intrinsic value to the Pokemon. They go between 0 and 31. And what they mean is, at level 100, which is not the level we play at, but at level 100, whatever that Pokemon's base stat is, or whatever Pokemon's stat, value it has for that IV. So let's say I have an attack stat of, let's just make up a number and say I have an attack stat of 100 with 0 IVs. If I were to have 31 IVs, then I would have an attack stat of 131 at level 100. At level 50, it's cut in half. So with 31 IV, you get plus 15 in that stat. So That's a big defining characteristic that separates each Pokemon within their own species. That's one of the. And it's not something. It's set at birth or at capture of the Pokemon or whenever they spawn. So you can't really like. Once you have a Pokemon, you couldn't in the past change it. So if you had a Pokemon that you really liked, like let's say you caught a shiny Gyarados, but it had bad IVs, you couldn't do anything about that. Over time, Pokemon's made changes, right? And it's gotten better, but my point is only that there's a large barrier. It used to take a ton of time to get a team in-game, and even though they've made it better, it's still been very tedious. Breeding has always been time-consuming. It's partially luck-based, even in the best-case scenario where you already have good parents, but it's always going to be at least partially luck-based, because of the way that breeding works in Pokemon, and I'll make a more detailed guide on breeding when the games come out and I know about this new generation. But yeah, there's always going to be partially luck-based, and then also, it's just a time-consuming process, because even once you have the Pokemon, once you have the right nature, which is something you can't control, once you have the nature, once you have the right IVs, you then need to train the Pokemon using EVs, which are basically, they are a counterpart to IVs. EVs are values that you control. You get to choose how you invest them. You have 508 points that you can put into at least 3 stats, between 3 and 5 stats. Or you could do less if you wanted. You can put 0 EVs in, but you shouldn't. And yeah, the way to do that back when I started EV training in Gen 4, before I played VGC, it was just so tedious. I mean, maybe there were faster ways of doing it, but it was very, I remember, like, doing some dumb stuff with EV training. It was so tedious. So basically, what I'm saying with all this stuff is that this is taking a little longer than I intended, but in the past it was very, very, very hard to get good Pokemon. Like very, very hard. And while I wouldn't say hard, I would say time consuming. Like if you had the resources, it wasn't that. It wasn't impossible. It wasn't a test of your skill, but it was a test of your stamina. And a lot of people don't have that kind of time to put into the game. So if you're learning about a new game and you say, "Oh, Pokemon competitive, that sounds kind of cool. Let me look into it," and then you see that like you can't compete with the Pokemon you already have. You can't even try it. You have to like spend hours and hours and hours and hours breeding and then training and all this stuff. It can be a real detriment. So what have they done in Sword and Shield, and why do I think this is such a big deal? I talked a little bit about this yesterday, but I want to really go in depth. Although it's I really want to go in depth, basically. The first thing is you can change the natures. That's huge. That means that if you are playing through the game with your starter Pokemon that you want to use, your Sobble evolution, don't tell me, I don't know what it is, I don't want to know, then you can change the nature to be good for competitive, and it looks like you can change it multiple times. So now your Sobble, like that you trained all game, you'd have to probably redo the EVs, for example, but you could change the nature. And as I mentioned yesterday, you can also change the nature for competitive Pokemon if you decide to if you change your mind on how you want to use them. So nature changing, that's big. EV training got a ton easier thanks to the vitamins. So now with the vitamins and the change to the vitamins that you can go up to, 252 EVs, it's so much. You can EV train in a second. It's so much easier, and that's a huge time removal that they've taken away. Sorry. Leveling up. I don't know exactly how these rare candy things work, but they basically, like, make it easier to level up your Pokemon. Having it be a fixed amount of experience is huge, because that's another time-consuming process. Like, in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, we had to grind secret bases, which were good, but, like, if you want to level up Pokemon up to level 50, you could, I guess you just go and, like, battle the Elite Four, but, yeah, it's not great. Although they did change the rules of VGC to have everything level up to level 50, so that's another good thing that they've done. But, yeah, basically now they have better ways of training, easier ways of training. If you mess with the EVs, this is a returning feature, but there are berries in the game that you can remove EVs, and they, like, in the past they had something that would reset all of your Pokemon's EVs to 0 if you wanted to just start over, so that could be a cool addition as well, but I'm at least sure they'll have the berries in the game, so that's really cool. They're also introducing Pokemon in the wild area that have a different look, and those Pokemon have either good IVs or egg moves, which are generally harder to get, or both. And that's really cool, because that means that egg moves are something I didn't even talk about, but hang on. I'm so sorry. Well, normally I would have just not made a video, but yeah. I'm on that grind. I do apologize. I know that's gross, but I'm a human and this is part of me, so yeah. You get to see. I feel like I'm pretty genuine with you guys in general. Like I act very much on camera as I do in real life, and so I blow my nose in real life. So you get the full experience. Anyway, egg moves. Basically, egg moves are, I wouldn't say that complicated of a process, but they're very hard to figure out if you don't have online resources. I will say that, if you don't look information up online. This is a way to make them more accessible at the very least, make them easier, and maybe you'll even catch them, like, during the main story. Just make them easier to get, right? Because some egg moves are, like, very convoluted. Like, sometimes you'll need, like, a chain of Pokemon in order to get the egg move you want, so... yeah, so egg moves, they're changing. They're making them, Pokemon in the wild area with egg moves more likely to appear, and also with good IVs in the wild area. That's big because IVs are taken from the parents. There's 5 IVs are taken from the 12 IVs total of the parents. Like, one of each attack, one of each defense, etc. But one of those 6 stats is then randomly generated. That's probably, if that didn't make sense, don't worry about it. But basically, having Pokemon with good IVs be accessible in-game is really good. And making them easy to get is very good. This is something that I missed in the video yesterday that I didn't understand properly. Egg moves can be transferred up to parents now. That's enormous. I can't understate how big of a deal that is. There have been so many times where I've had a Pokemon that I wanted to use and then realized that I was missing an egg move, and I couldn't. That Pokemon is now useless for the role that I needed to play. Now egg moves can copy from the Pokemon of the same species. So, that's a big deal. That makes things so much easier. And basically, let's say you have a Pokemon in game that's trash. You can change the nature. Oh, that's better. You can change the egg moves, which is like neither of those things you could do in the past. That's really good. You can change the EVs. You could always do that. So now you can take your Pokemon. Let's say I had a really bad Greninja, but it was shiny, or it was special to me, or it was my starter, or it had some sentimental value, so I wanted to use it. I could change the nature. I could change the ability if they still have ability capsule. I forgot about that. Nature, ability. I could change the egg moves. I could give it moves that it didn't already have by getting another Greninja, even if it didn't have good IVs, but I could pass the moves over. Nature, EVs, I could EV train it, and then... Sorry, I hit stop recording. By accident. I hit space, actually. Oops. But basically, all I wanted to say was, in addition to all that, EVs, IVs. Sorry, that's the big one. We had bottle caps in the last gen. That's kind of the big question mark here, is how are bottle caps going to work? Or do you still need to be level 100? I really hope the bottle caps are made more accessible, but yeah, that's kind of the very last thing that I feel like they need to address and make more accessible. But once that's done, then it's going to be amazing, and it's going to be so much easier for anyone to play competitive Pokemon. So I'm really excited for that, and I really hope that they take this to... Sorry. I really hope that they take this to heart, basically, is what I wanted to say. So, with all that being said, I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. This might be my last video because I'm probably going to die. But yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.